Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Tech Talk Live. Today is Thursday, April 30th. It is 3 o'clock and time to get started. We have some really exciting guests that are going to be joining us in just a few minutes, but I have a couple of announcements that I wanted to get out of the way first. The usual, today's webinar is being recorded and it is completely interactive. So you can ask questions to both myself and our two panelists. There's a Q&A button on your side of the screen that you should be seeing at the bottom. You can actually tap on that Q&A button and type questions through. I'll be able to see those and relay those to both our panelists, Samantha and Sarah, as they're joining us in just a few minutes. A friendly reminder to all of you out there as well that this webinar is being recorded, so have no fear if you are joining a little bit late or you have to jump out a little bit early. Since we'll be spending the next 30 minutes together, the recording will be posted on your Tech Hub with all resources linked below to download within the next 24 hours. You're also going to hear me announce that a few times throughout this, that we are recording and everything will be posted within the next 24 hours. The last thing that I want to share with you is a little bit of a different message. We've been hosting this webinar every single Thursday, believe it or not, since October of 2018. That is a lot of time and content that we've been able to spend together talking about technology. And we're in an interesting time as a real estate market right now. So next month, in the month of May, Keller Williams through MAPS Coaching is going to be hosting Bold Pivot. I know a lot of you have probably heard of Bold, the traditional Bold program. Well, this is going to be a new global digital experience. And so Tech Talk Live is actually going to be attending Bold. I am registered and I will be attending Bold all next month. And because that conflicts with our regular Thursday 3 o'clock schedule, I want to make sure that you all have the ability to focus on that as well, because over 20,000 associates so far have registered for the digital global experience that will be Bold Pivot. It's only $100. And what those 20,000 associates have decided and said that they are going to thrive in the market of the moment. And Bold Pivot is exactly going to do that. It's all about mindset, giving you the strategies and the mindset so that you can walk away at the end of the month of May with more leads than you ever have before, and you can make 2020 your best year in real estate yet. If you have more questions around Bold Pivot, or you'd like to learn more about that program and join me in taking it next month in May, again, it's $99. But yesterday they hosted a session on Connect Live, which is now publicly posted on Keller Williams Realty International's YouTube channel. There is a 27-minute video called A Sneak Peek to Bold Pivot. I highly, highly recommend you go and watch this. That's completely free. It's 27 minutes of your time, and then you can say and decide whether Bold Pivot is going to be best for you. But I'm really encouraging you to join that program and join me next month in the Global Digital Experience. So I'm going to, let's get out of our comfort zone. Ronnie is right. I love that attitude, Ronnie. Thanks for being here. I'm going to do things a little bit differently today, and we actually don't have quick tips because today's topic is going to take up our whole 30 minutes. Remember, I'm going to invite my two panelists on in just a few minutes, and I want you to remember that you have the Q&A button below to ask questions to both Sarah, Samantha, and myself. Sarah and Samantha, you can go ahead and unmute your microphones and cameras. Welcome to the call.
Thank you.
Good. So Sarah, the Rocco Group, I want to start off with you. Could you just tell us a little bit more about the Rocco Group?
Yeah, great. So we are a top team here in Jacksonville, Florida. We started just over 4 years ago. I was brand new to real estate, and we are now a team of 9. We have 3 other agents and myself. We have a production partner, which is like an ISA, a virtual assistant. Samantha is my amazing director of operations, so I wouldn't do this call without her. And we have a executive assistant and a transaction coordinator.
That is awesome. And you know, I have heard a lot about Samantha before this call because I've just heard that she is a complete and total rock star. Yeah. So I'm so excited that you are here and you have Samantha here to join us. Samantha, we're here to talk a lot about command and operations. And I know that is your world. You are the director of operations for the Rocco Group. And just a quick reminder, 4 years in the business, what was your unit count or volume last year, Sarah?
So we were able to help 139 families.
139
and our volume
families
was,
last year.
I believe, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was right around 38 million.
39.
I'm going to lean out and make an observation that you have some pretty strong foundational systems to help support a team of that size to make sure that you can efficiently help 139 families last year. And that takes a lot of effort. So Samantha, I know that one focus for you starting last year in the fall was focusing on command. We have all these new tools. And I get this questioned a lot. When you're thinking about moving your business into command, if you could rewind for us, because there's a lot of people who haven't started this process yet, where would you recommend somebody to get started when they're just saying, I want to move my business into command?
Really good question.
Like the $1 million question, right?
Literally.
Yeah.
Question. Sarah came back from Mega Camp last year. I stayed at home with the team, and she came back and she said, we're getting into command right now. So we did. And where do you start? I mean, there's a lot of different places you can start. And I feel like the first place is going to be your contacts. We spent I'm not going to sugarcoat, a good 3 months going through our contacts from our previous CRM, and we imported them one by one into command. So we did not upload them bulk. We did them one by one.
You uploaded your contacts one by one. Now, I just have to also say, what did you learn from that experience? Because that sounds like a daunting task. How did that happen one by one? And what did you learn from that?
Yeah, so a lot. First thing is we learned how important our sources, our tags, and like getting all of that together for the team prior to the whole team coming into command. That training was going to be crucial in order to make sure that our new CRM was staying clean and everybody was doing like the same things and keeping everything systematized. We also learned that we had a lot of junk in our old CRM. Like, to be perfectly honest, we had run a lot of ads and things like that where we had a phone number that was recognized as wrong. Someone had called it. And then the phone number or the email was like 123@gmail.com, and so we used that time when we were importing them one by one to look up the correct information if we could via Spokio.com. So shout out to them. You just literally go to Spokio.com, put in the information you have and see what other information comes up. So we were trying to beef up our leads as well as just getting rid of the junk. So like anything that was just taking up space and we weren't actually trying to actively convert, we got rid of it.
And thank you for your transparency, because I'm sure a lot of us have the same junk that you're referring to in our database. If we're going to start narrowing down on these contacts, we all have that. And you're able to take those learning lessons from it. Now, one of the things that I think teams, when they get into command, we've gone one by one and added those contacts. I see a couple of questions coming through just for everyone out there. Please keep them coming. We're going to have some Q&A time towards the end of our call. When you're talking around leads and assigning, what does that process look like for the team? Because you have 5 agents, correct?
We have 4 agents and then our production partner. Yep.
4 agents and your production partner. So what does that look like? How are you getting the leads to the right people?
So I will be very honest. It is a manual system for us right now. We are really excited for all of the new updates that are going to be coming out with command. We know they're in the works and they're coming. Right now, it's very manual. So what we do whenever we have a lead come in, we literally copy and paste the lead into a buyer lead chat or a seller lead chat. Whoever claims it first gets it, and it's like a Shark Tank. They reach out, they respond in that group chat with their notes and when they want their next task to be. Our virtual assistant puts that right into command through Sarah's account, mind you. So that way we have ownership, shares it to the agent who claimed it, adds their notes for them, and adds their next task. So literally the agents don't have to do anything and our VA takes care of all of it.
So the moral of the story, everyone get a VA.
Oh my gosh. Literally, I don't know if Kim is doing this right now, but she is literally amazing.
But I will say that you can have the agents do it as well. It's just the ownership, and a lot of teams that's a question is how, like, if someone leaves my team, they get to take their leads with them. So we would prefer to put it in and then share it with them.
Sure. And that's a really great point, because that's your internal team structure, and every team might have a different lead system. So when you call it a Shark Tank and you have this chat, We have our virtual assistant that's adding them in. We have the chat system. They're claiming the leads, and you're then taking that lead, adding it into Sarah's command account so that the team has ownership. So the ownership is all related to Sarah, the rainmaker of the team. We're going to use traditional Keller Williams language here. And then from there is where you're actually sharing the contact record back to the agent who will actually be working the lead and helping them either buy or sell a house. Did I get that process right?
Yes. Now, I want to say something that if you're watching this and you're like, well, we don't have a VA, we don't have enough hands on deck for that, which I'm sure that could be a case for people. It wasn't always this way, and our agents were putting in some of the leads themselves. And so when we had time and now that we're like caught up and good to go, we run, what do we call it? It's a funny name. It's like a code name, but we go back through and we make sure that all of the leads are now transferred under the Rocco group. And so you can change ownership within their profile. So like in the instance that someone has to, have their agents put those in themselves, you can always have them put it under the Rocco group or whatever your team name is and go back in there and tweak it and make sure that they actually did.
Switching that contact ownership back.
Yeah.
I love it. So we're routing leads, we're providing all this value. Sarah, for you as the CEO, the rainmaker of this team, if we're using that traditional Keller Williams language, what does that look like for you as far as accountability goes?
Yeah, so before we go into accountability, I think that one thing that I would love to touch on from a rainmaker standpoint is we tend to be a little obsessive with our companies where we actually want to have our hand in everything. And I might be the only mega that's like that. But I think it was really important when I came back from mega camp and I talked to Sam and I had to get out of my own way. And a lot of times we think that we have to have a part in it, but guys, trust your operations team and trust that it's not going to be perfect. But I had to really, learn from them. And I was probably the most difficult person to transfer over. And I hung on to it, literally our other CRM forever. And Samantha was finally like, you're done. And so it was really a shift for me to be able to let go of the database and everything being perfect and systematic and auto drips and everything. And just know that some balls were going to be dropped, but the other side of it, the saving side of it, and the upside was so huge. So I would say that was huge for me.
I love that. And actually, before we move any further, that trust and that saving, so recognizing that some balls might be dropped, I actually want to share this. I'm going to swap my screen share for a second, and I'm going to bring in this amazing calendar that you shared with us, and you have given me permission to provide this as a download with the recording of the video tomorrow. And this was coming back from Mega Camp, your implementation plan, your integration calendar, and what steps you were taking in the same order. So that way, even if you're starting today, you could always just start back with this. How was this a tool as far as conversations between the two of you? And you're talking about trust and making sure that you're empowering Samantha to go through this process. Is this something or a document that you two visited to measure the success as you're going through?
Yeah, so it was not always like pleasant conversations because I wanted things to happen immediately. I was like, why isn't this done? Why isn't this done? How, and so she'd be like, Sarah, relax, we're doing it. So there was a lot of tension, but they say a successful team, you should have tension. Because if your ops team isn't pushing you and you're not pushing them, and it's this perfect situation, there's no growth.
I will say when I made this integration calendar and I showed it to Sarah, she's like, so it's going to take us 2.5 months to get over. That's way too long. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, but it definitely, if you do it as a bulk upload, and there's definitely a lot of really great ways to do that. Donnie, I was actually at one of your classes once, and you talked about using a tag that says, what was it? Like in the works or something. I can't remember. And that's a really great way, you know, to make sure that you're going through all of your leads and keeping track of which ones you've worked with and which ones you haven't. So this is what works for us. And we had weekly meetings, the ops team and Sarah, and every week we'd have a weekly meeting to discuss where we were and give her an update.
I love that strategy too. And it was a cleanup tag is how I went through. It was the one by one to go through. I originally made that tag messy, and I realized that it might be rude to label someone messy inside of my database since I share my screen often. So if you ever saw a messy tag, it was only because I wanted to add more information about you in my database. I wanted to get into a deeper relationship with you by finding out more. So I love that strategy. On top of the calendar here, as we're switching back in, I know that Samantha, you were going to talk to us a little bit about opportunities. Yes. Is it okay if I go ahead and stop sharing my screen and switch over to yours?
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. So opportunities has been huge for us. Can you see my screen okay?
Yeah, we can see it.
Perfect. So this has been huge for us. We've customized all of the stages within each of the, within of the stages to really make command work for us. For example, what I mean by that, if we go into our buyers, we have customized this to have an A buyer column, a B buyer column, a C buyer column. We keep going down the line. 10 days of pain. You're probably like, what is this? So this is actually our pipeline tool that we've set up for our agents, and our agents use this as a pipeline tool to drag and drop their leads where they belong. So in each of these stages, this has been amazing for Sarah as far as accountability goes in their 411 meetings.
I was just about to ask that, Sarah. I imagine some pretty powerful conversations come from looking at this screen. What does that look like?
Yeah, so it's really helpful. So if they're, I can't share. Hold on one second. Okay, you'll just use it. I just can't function it. So with their ABCs, if they're pipelines, and if you go to appointments, you can see who their active are, who they're working with, who maybe had a scheduled appointment and didn't keep their appointment, who is still searching. But through the cultivate option, if they're running low and their pipeline or their actives running low, we go through the ABC first and we see, okay, who can we push to be active? Who from the B can we move to A? Who from the C can we move to B? It's like a funnel. And the 10 days of pain, every single lead goes into 10 days of pain. We have a 666 rule, 6 emails, 6 texts, 6 calls in order for them to change that lead to up for grabs to put back in the team pool. So that way they've had 6 touches and then it goes to our production partner and then she can take it from there and nurture it. So their 10 days of pain at any given time, if that gets too high, that means they're not doing the contacts and we're like, okay, what's your goal for tomorrow to get through those 10 days of pain and keep going? So it's just an amazing accountability tool. So they're aware of who their hottest leads are.
I mean, that is incredible. And I think that's the magic of the sales pipeline. If you've been in a training of mine, Opportunity is by far my favorite application. I just love this applet in the sales pipeline. And what you're really highlighting here is when we first log into our pipeline and we go to the cultivate stage, it says watch, nurture, and hot. That's the default. And what I think is important to say is you get to completely customize this to match your own workflow. In the system that you've just made here with A, B, C, and 10 days of pain, you've just essentially created that lead funnel that from your previous CRM, you're just turning it sideways and saying, now we're going to drag and drop them through the pipeline this way, still having those same accountability conversations.
When you're thinking about a salesperson, they are extremely visual. And so when you can have them use this where they literally have to drag and drop, there is not another function that could have been better. I mean, it has all of our buyers agents just like roped in completely.
And on top of that, since we're on a team, just to make sure another little hidden functionality that I know that you two use is that filter by all assignees. Sarah, when you're sitting down with a specific agent on your team, you can actually say, nope, we're going to remove everything from the pipeline. And then you can really narrow down in so you can, hey, Well, we're going to have a conversation with Tanner today about Tanner's business.
Right.
And yet you as a rainmaker and a business owner, you get to see everything rolled up in that whole data.
Right. And I think one thing too that I found, and if you guys are at this point, I log in as them as well. So everything's exactly the same way they're seeing it. Currently, that's the easier way to do it. But yeah, you can do the assignee thing. But if you're going through some of the leads, it's easier.
I love it. Okay. Well, ladies, if it's okay with you, we have a couple of questions that I think we could go ahead and start to address.
Sure.
And I think one thing before you do that, like for like 1 minute, Sam, if you could go through the SmartPlans that we have associated, I think it would be a game changer for some people.
Yeah. So, well, the other thing too, I was going to say is we have customized all of our checklists as well inside of our stages. So that has been a game changer. For those of you who used to use Trello, we don't use Trello anymore for that. We use it inside of Command. So it's pretty amazing. As far as our SmartPlans, this has been, where am I going here? This has been huge. So our 10 Days of Pain is one of the biggest SmartPlans that our agents are using right now. And what we were finding, this is just a little tip, is what we were finding was for 10 days, it's 10 days straight, including Saturday and Sunday. So like if your agents aren't lead generating on Saturdays or Sundays, they would come back Mondays and their tasks would be stacked up because they didn't get to them. So we started a 10 Days of Pain where if it's a Monday, you start it on a Monday and it automatically has days built in to like pause it. So that way, it's amazing. It's amazing. The shout out to our virtual assistant, Kim, for that.
Yeah, I think the call's over now. Actually, I love that.
It's so smart.
Yeah, you build in a day because the days of the week don't change.
Exactly. So anyway, more on that later.
That's one of the many.
I love that.
It's been amazing. So it sends the automated emails, it sends the automated texts, it calls. I mean, it's just fabulous.
And just to make sure, because that is awesome, there's two other downloads that we're going to be providing to everyone that you guys are sending out to everyone. They'll be linked below the recording of the video for you to download. So I promise they're going to be there tomorrow within 24 hours. You'll be able to use that link to download, but you have your opportunity stages all identified to share with everyone. And you're also sharing your listing checklist in its entirety. So that whole listing pipeline checklist. Yep. That is a huge, tremendous piece of value. And I want to say thank you for providing that to everyone here. Okay. I'm going to jump into these questions. I have Victoria Price. So Victoria asked, did you enter contacts from the team lead account or into the agent accounts?
Good question. So it depends. If it was the agent's own sphere, if we imported it into their personal accounts. If it was anything else, any team lead or just literally anything but their sphere, it went into Sarah's account. And then we shared from there.
Awesome. Paul asked, you have a VA. We've talked about the VA a few times now. What VA company do you use? Is it a VA company? Is it an individual that you found?
Yeah, it's an individual that we found through running ads, and we just found that was better for us from a cost standpoint, but also from a coachable, moldable standpoint.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of talent right now. Getting those ads out. There's a lot of talent out there right now, so I love that. Yeah. So finding an individual to be that virtual assistant, you identified talent.
And then she's building out her own team now, which is just wild.
That's what I was going to say is for those of you looking for a VA, ours always says, hey, we have someone who's looking for a team. So if you know anyone looking for a VA, I know somebody great. And it's just like working your sphere. Our VA knows a ton of people who are looking to join top teams.
That is awesome. And it's like empire building right there. Travis asked, beyond the sphere of influence and past clients, where is the next source of great leads? So we've identified past clients. And we just already answered the VA question. So past sphere of influence and past clients, what are the next source of great leads?
One of our highest lead sources would be agent referrals. We love our agent referrals in Jacksonville, and we love to nurture our agents that are our partners. So that's a really big source for us. Our database is huge. I know he mentioned that, and those are really our top two right now.
Love it. Agent referral. Nicole asked, with a manual lead process, how many leads right now are you receiving in a month for that VA to enter? What does that number look like?
So our goal is to have 50 leads per week coming in, which is 200 per month. So we're finding that right now it's actually higher than that. People are home and we're just getting more leads. So I'd say this over the past month, it was like 279, I want to say, that she's manually input.
Who's counting?
Second step to that question, after they're inputting in, so that's 200 leads a month, 50 leads a week. Does the VA also create the opportunity, or do we allow the agent to complete that step?
Both. So we have one agent who likes to do it on her own. She's on top of it and super particular, so she does it. Like, she loves it. Our other two agents, our VA will create the opportunity for them as well. So what happens is after they make the connection or after they leave a voicemail, whatever it is, they'll go back into that chat and they'll say, left voicemail, next task tomorrow at 1 p.m. or whatever it might be. And then they'll say create opportunity if they want her to. Like, it's super quick and she just whips it out like super fast. I mean, if you're thinking about it, it's really not that bad. It's less than 10 leads a day for her, you know? And as long as you keep up with it every single day, it's not hard at all.
Yeah, it's as long as you're not getting behind. That's the important part, making sure you're getting that task completed.
I think something to note is that, like, we are building really good habits. Like, I've seen and I know Sarah can attest, our agents have the best habits ever right now because everything is almost manual. Just wait until it's not manual. These habits are still going to be there and it's just going to be 10 times the production. I'm so excited.
And you know, those habits, this whole system is being built around the book of habits for our business. This book never leaves my desk. So I love that you just mentioned that, creating habits, systems and models, scalable systems and models. Mm-hmm. How do you identify which agent is working the opportunity? So it sounds like lead routing.
It's literally whoever claims it.
So I think you're using that chat system, correct? And I think a lot of people refer to that system as like a jump ball. It's a first come, first serve. You're dropping that in the chat.
Yeah. So it's through Slack and it's very simple. They just reply to it if they grab it.
There you go. So Slack is the chat channel that you guys are using. I love that. Mm-hmm. Nicole asked, the 10 days of pain smart plan. Would that be something that you'd be willing to share a screenshot with me so I can drop that in a download below as well?
Yes, actually, I may have already sent it to you. I'm not sure, but if not, absolutely, please do. I'll send it to you right after this.
I love it. So it's going to be in a download tomorrow for the call. So please be sure you're going to get the download tomorrow. It'll be linked down below, 10 days of pain. I love that. Last question as we're wrapping up here. Actually, sorry, we have two more questions. What is your strategy to connect with agents in other areas? So your referral strategy that you were discussing.
Yeah, so we have them in there. They have a certain tag. It's called a raving fan. And so if I just want to go in and touch everyone in there, and I have a plan for them too, where I put them in a certain friend list on my Facebook, and I go in and spend intentional time touching them and commenting and having conversation. So that's how we identify who it is. It's a raving fan.
And we've created a system around it. I mean, it's not just who sends us a lead. Okay, great. They get paid and send a commission check. Like, no, the moment the lead comes in, our VA automatically puts it into command. She automatically imports all the notes. She sends me a message. Hey, Sam, send a handwritten note from Sarah. Secret. She said,
tell her secrets.
She says, I mean, it's a whole system, you know? And so on the second day, I have to go in and check and make sure that our agents made connection. If not, we go back to the agent. So, I mean, I think it's just being really intentional on the things that you're doing for those agents, because they get a biweekly update from us no matter what's going on with the client, you know, and like, that's awesome. They love hearing that.
Great. It's another system. I'm hearing systems. This is incredible. Last question. Command has a feature when you're utilizing the smart plans through a service provided by Twilio to automatically fire and send those SMS text messages. Is that something that you all are currently utilizing?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's amazing. So
I set myself up on a couple of smart plans just to see what it would look like. And Rocco texts me like at weird times. So I'm still figuring it out.
Hey, are we all figuring this out together? I'm gonna cover up a few reminders as we're asking one last question to both of you. Thank you, ladies, so much for being here. I'm gonna ask you for your final thoughts to share with everyone who's on the call with us today. And thank you for everyone for still tuning in and being here as we're wrapping up. Just a quick reminder that today's Tech Talk Live will be the last one until June. Today's session was completely recorded and will be posted tomorrow on yourtechhub.com. And below will be timestamps and the downloads that we've been mentioning throughout today's webinar. We are going to be pausing for the month of May to go to the Bold Pivot. So Bold Pivot is where Tech Talk Live will be happening. And we'll be back here live in June for Tech Talk Live. So final thoughts. I'm going to start with Samantha. Samantha, final thoughts. What's the most important thing that we should be taking away from this call today?
The biggest thing that I would say is get your team to rally around this, because we have seen so much growth, so much leadership in some of our agents that is just, it's mind blowing because they've really stepped up to figure out a solution. So like still we're doing great in command. We still have things to learn. Things are changing every day. So every Friday at 11 o'clock, we have a mastermind with our whole team via Zoom on what are best practices? What are you finding? I find that I don't say much. Our whole ops team doesn't say much. It truly is our agents, and they're teaching each other and growing, and it's rally around that.
That's incredible. Command is such an expansive program that it's just like that. It takes that peer-to-peer collaboration. I don't think anybody can be an expert in every single area or component or feature of Command, which I love that peer-to-peer. So 11 o'clock every Friday, sharing that mastermind. Thank you for that, Samantha. Sarah, final thoughts.
I would just say that the main thing right now in this period of time we're in right now, it's focus on what is going to drive your business forward and focus on that one thing. So there's a bazillion different ways you could go, different Zoom videos, conferences, everything you could go to. But if Command is your one thing, then only do Command for 1 month.
Command is your one thing. And guess what? If Command is your one thing and you are like, I want a crash course, I want to learn every single thing about Command. Right now, Keller Williams actually has a course called Command Enablement Training. When you're logged into Command, in the upper right corner, there's a little marketplace icon. You can actually go register for a course. They have a 1-hour course that's just around team functionality. They have a $99 course that's 6 total hours of training where you're going to learn Command from start to finish. If you want to make it your one thing, maybe that's something that you could invest in to do over the next 30 days and start this transition process. Start with the calendar.
And I call it date Command. So I actually put Command on my calendar to date it for an hour every night. And we got a better relationship as we went along.
She put heart emojis and everything. Like, it was sweet.
I love it. I can't say thank you enough. And I know that everyone that was watching this call today found tremendous value. I'm going to ask for one quick thing for everyone that's out there. I call this my virtual round of applause. There's a raise your hand button on the screen. If you could do me a favor and go ahead and click that. There's Courtney, Christina, Kathy, Paul, Robin, Maritza, Travis, Martha. That's a virtual round of applause for our ladies today. Thank you so much for being here and being part of this. We want to be
your Jacksonville realtors.
Yeah, your Jacksonville. Yes, the Rocco group and from Jacksonville. I hope everyone out there has an amazing weekend. I hope you'll join me for Bold Pivot next month in the month of May. Stay safe, and I will see you back for Tech Talk Live in June. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Donnie.
All right, bye, everyone.
Bye.